What's up, everybody? What's happening? I am the third, Joseph R. Wheeler, the third, the artist, the founder, and the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. Welcome to another live. Yeah, you guessed it. If you're one of my, what I call my monetization nation, my people who truly support the channel, subscribe, etc. Yeah, you guessed it. And one day it's still cold, the sun's not out, it's a cloudy day, but after that snow, everybody had to jump right back to work, including me. So we out here doing the courier thing again, you know what I'm saying? We dropping off some things. We back in it. We back in, as we say on set, in the film biz. I am in the film business. I'm an actor, writer, producer, and many other hats I wear, including behind the camera. I'm a PA, production assistant. Which is really where I'd rather be right now. Making some real money. But it is what it is. It is what it is until it will be that. Because that's coming soon to a part of the life theater near me. Got goals and things to handle, y'all. We gonna all need them. So, you know, I think I'll make that part of today's topic. It's just, you know, I talk about this almost every time I go live, quite frankly. But I think now that those who are true woke, as I say, because we're not gonna let people destroy the word and what it really means. You know, a lot of people have awakened since the events of the 20th, and it has not stopped. I swear. I mean, it was on and popping before the 20th, and now it's just like it's an avalanche of daily. You know what I'm saying? Just daily. Yeah. You know. Yeah. You know, I will cuss, but you know, I decide I pick and choose where I want to plant those energies, because another thing, I mean, for one thing, I'm just not, we don't represent a ratchet channel over here, you know what I'm saying? Every other word ain't got to be that. I'm way too intelligent for that. But also, you can get that anywhere. You know, that's cheap. That's dime a dozen. That's all over the internet. So we try to be the exception to the rule in many ways, because that's what we about. Like we say, we don't do it for the culture, because there's no one culture. We do it for the cultures. Plural, with a Z or with a S. That's the hashtag. I made it. Give credit where credit is due if you're going to start using it. Please use it. But know what you're talking about when you use it. It means that though there can be intersections, there are intersections amongst popular cultures. And in America, nobody creates popular culture like black folks. We are the root of all popular culture. If it's on and popping, if everybody wants to do it and thinks it's cool and hip to do, we got something to do with it. Right? But not everything that certain groups of people, amongst a group of people, do coincide with the individualism. So we're all about being individuals first. We're all about having boundaries. We're all about aligning ourselves with energy that aligns with us. So therefore, that's why I am so diverse in my own life, and I encourage other people to be so. You know, with ONYXCON, there's a huge misconception, or was sometimes a misconception, when they hear the name, people think, oh, so that means Black Con. And, well, ain't that what it means? And, because you see, black, white, red, brown, yellow, those are constructs. Those are definitions of race, and all of that is a construct. The reality is, ethnicity and cultures are what truly define us. Ethnicity and cultures truly define us. And ethnicities can't be completely identified at face value. Body type, etc. It's mostly easier to pick and choose and say, oh, that probably is this. But it's good to lead with probably, and it's best to ask. It's never good to always assume, because when you assume, that's usually when you're wrong. That's usually when you're wrong. And even the best of us who have a pretty good view of our fellow humanity and can look at somebody and assume, oh, I bet she's Colombian. I bet he's probably Mexican. Say, friend, where are you from? Argentina. Oh, you're not Mexican? No, not at all. You know what I'm saying? Or might be like, I'm Argentinian, but I'm also Mexican. Really? Yeah, I was born in Mexico to an Argentine family because there's Argentinians that live in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? That's how complicated it gets. But if you got a simple perspective on the world and you don't understand the difference in race, nationality, and ethnicity, then the game is on you. And it's an ugly game that gets played too, because people will literally group people and assume things and say things, do things, have ill will towards people because of their racism and all that other nonsense that causes all the conflicts and issues that we have going on and have always had going on. But things reach fever pitches. And right now we're in a time of fever pitch ever since certain people went back in office. See, we don't say their name because it's like a cuss word. So we'll just say, I don't even like saying the number, but for the sake of points made, we'll just say the 47, you know, and his MAGA maggots. Yeah. Oh yeah, just like that. Because these fools are on an absolute mission. I was watching a lot of, I watch a lot of different things on YouTube. But one of my favorites, and I got a few, when it comes to stuff relating to, you know, what's going on in civics and civil rights, etc., and all of that. And Roland Martin is the man. That's my dude. Roland don't bite his tongue worth nothing, and I love it. He gonna say what he gonna say. Folks be talking about stand on business. Roland Martin stand on business. Roland Martin be standing on business. You don't know who he is? Look him up. Check it out. You need to know about that. If you want to hear some real honest and wise, not just, you know, frustrated when things are happening that are disgusting and wrong. Yeah, he's gonna give you the passion. He's gonna give you the anger about what ought to be making folk upset if you're logical and you are progressive and respectful and know true history and have more friends than just one group of people, and you know people in the world, you've traveled, you know things about the way things became what they are and why a lot of things are ass backwards, and this is now becoming more and more bizarro world. Okay. And you know, he's interviewed so many amazing legends from political standpoints, heavy folks. I mean, that's his main thing is all of that. But I like to say, because we're an arts organization, arts and creative lifestyle organization, multi-niche here at ONYXCON, you know, someone may say, well, you know, you said you're a nonprofit. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, you know, according to the law, what laws? This law is still in place, but what? You shouldn't be talking about politics why not? Because this ain't even politics. At this point in history, this is survival. That's what this is. This is so much deeper than someone's opinion on candidates and people they don't know, and putting their trust in these people who have leadership positions. This is so much deeper than that at this point. Now that all hell has been broken loose. And BIZARRO is signing stuff left and right. BIZARRO is saying 2 + 4 is 8. What? What did you just say? 2 + 4 is 8, says BIZARRO. You know, if you don't know who BIZARRO is, you need to. If you know who BIZARRO is, you're laughing right now. If you don't know who BIZARRO is, look it up. You need to know who BIZARRO is, because we talk a lot about BIZARRO. BIZARRO is my, you know what? That's what we're gonna call him. We're gonna just say BIZARRO. There we go. We ain't even gotta do the numbers and all. BIZARRO is perfect because that's what has happened since BIZARRO went in. BIZARRO thinks it's his world. BIZARRO thinks he gonna rename whole countries that ain't got nothing to do with the country he's supposed to be advising. We ain't gonna say lead, advising. You know, talking about the Gulf of America, man. This stuff ain't even funny. This stuff ain't even funny. You talking about you gonna take over Canada and make it another part? You gonna take over what? You gonna take over who? Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I mean, I'm like, do some people even want friends? Like, do they want to know that there's anybody left that gives a damn about them? You know what I'm saying? That's where this is. It's ugh, wow. It's wow. Bizarro. That's what it is. Anytime you're a lack of words, you don't know what to say, just say bizarro. It's gonna be perfect. It's gonna fit. It's gonna be right. It's gonna be exactly what it is. But on Roland Martin's show, one of the episodes I was watching, he was talking about why this whole anti-DEI, okay, diversity, ethnicity, ethnic inclusion, and other inclusion, you know, rights for all to have jobs, people to have a way of feeding themselves, no matter what they are genetically, culturally, no matter what they are, no matter who their peoples are, no matter what they like to do in the comforts of their own home, no matter who they want to love, no matter what they want to get up in the morning and call themselves and say that they are, whatever, man, people got a right to live. Be somebody I know. They just got me on play. I appreciate that. I think I know who that might be. If it is who I think it is, what's up, homie? Anyway, as I was saying, you know, this situation, what the opponents of righteousness and progressive energy, you know, those who are anti-woke but call other stuff woke, bizarro, what they don't realize, and what unfortunately people who got fooled by their spell don't realize, this attempt to pretty much, as Roland's show was breaking down, to destroy all black workers' contracts, government contracts. See, there's a lot of employment that happens in this country if you're not in the U.S. or if you're from the U.S. but you just don't work in that part of life, so you don't understand how that works. And I've been involved in a government job before. Only thing about my job was we always got the low end of the stick, the complete low end. As artists, we were instructors that did just as much work, if not more, than some departments. But because of the lack of respect for the arts, we were never given a full job with full benefits and things of that nature. We only had a job. We literally used to have to sign a contract every year that said we understood that this is a right to work state in Georgia. We could be fired at any time for no reason, and we accept these terms. We had to literally sign that. Something that most people, you know, if they work in certain other types of jobs, oh, it would be the most absolute ludicrous thing, just that they'd be ready to fight just because somebody even put that in front of them, which we were too. But the only problem is, when artists are ready to stand up and fight for something, we usually by ourselves. See, if a contract like that was issued to somebody who was a physical trainer, because every job I'm about to mention were jobs at the same job I worked at, same venues, plural, because I went to multiple sites to teach with this particular part of this job. Okay, I used to work with senior citizens. I used to teach senior citizens art, visual art, because the arts are broad, you know. And actually, I used to even incorporate a little bit of music into my thing too. I did a lot. I did a hell of a lot. But what we were able to do and what we were doing, you know, you had physical trainers, you had nurses, you had chefs, you know what I'm saying? You had the culinary, okay, who, those are artists too, whether they see themselves as that or not. You had hairdressers, artists, right? But the particular ones that were on contract, like I think the hair person may have been on contract like we were. But I do know that everybody who was like physical ed and nurses and all those kind of folks, and of course administrators, people who ran the business side of it, the paperwork, all of them had cushy jobs, you know what I'm saying? All of them had all of the standard stuff you would expect from any job. They had benefits with health and dental and 2 weeks of vacation and sick days and all that stuff that most Americans expect when you say, I got a job, right? They all had that. All of us artists, as instructors, under the same roof, with classrooms, with access to materials, had to go shopping and get our own supplies. We would get a budget every year allotted through the county to go get our supplies and things of that nature. And all of that was through government funds, tax dollars, to make this programming possible for the seniors who came to enjoy the life enrichment programming that we taught and administered as arts professionals. Because many of us, like myself, you had two types. You had some of them that were just literally self-trained and were still amazing artists and self-taught, you know what I'm saying? And then you had folks like myself who were self-taught but also formally taught. That's me. Both, you know? BFA, Atlanta College of Art. First year of school, Pratt Institute, Brooklyn, New York. But I'm from ATL. Check the resume. You see what I'm saying? So, anybody in the art world knows what I just said. By the time I said Pratt, y'all like, whoa, respect. You know, if you don't know the art world, you don't understand what I just said. Put it like this. Pratt is like saying Princeton or Yale when it comes to visual art schools. Just put it like that. Understand it like that. It really is. Now, I didn't want to do 4 years in New York, so I came back and finished at Atlanta College of Art. Atlanta College of Art, if I was trying to compare it to other schools to give you a picture of what I mean, I would say ACA is like, what would I compare ACA to schools that aren't art schools? I mean, quite frankly, shit, ACA was on par with Georgia State University. You know what I'm saying? For what they did in that particular department, because Georgia State even has an art department, but they're not just an art school. So if they were, they would get that kind of respect. But anyway, they got bought out by SCAD. Now, that ought to tell you, because SCAD bought them out, so they wanted their materials and facilities and everything. So ACA no longer exists because SCAD took it over. Savannah College of Art and Design, if you don't know. Literally, possibly the most powerful, renowned, and probably the wealthiest, if not one of the wealthiest, arts-focused learning institutions in the world. They have campuses abroad and here. They got the one in the original Savannah, they got Atlanta, and then they have one, I forget where in Europe, but there's a campus in Europe. And I think they got another one too somewhere else, but yeah, SCAD, powerhouse. So where I'm going with this is to say, you know, you're talking about a professional like myself with credentials who's still in a society like this could not and would not ever get what we were worth on paper or in finances. Not because we weren't skilled as artists, not because we didn't deserve what everybody else got with benefits and time off and sick pay, and not because, but simply because we were artists. And the arts were not respected like all the other jobs. That's just the bottom damn line of the reality of what we dealt with and still deal with. See, I'm going somewhere, and most importantly with this to say, when I see other people panicking and franticking right now on an ethnic level, which I understand why and I respect it. When I see black folk who've had good jobs, as we say, you know, a lot of black folk in the cultures, you know, some folks say, man, that's a good job, man. You got you a good job. Now, what's that usually mean when folks say, man, shoot, you know, you started it, you came out of college and you got it right away, or it didn't take but a few years, if that. Okay? Maybe you had a couple of, if you're in a fraternity or sorority, you had some fraternity or sorority brethren or sistren that did what those organizations do, no matter what ethnicity they are from or mostly of. They help each other out. They look out for their brothers and sisters, understandably, you know. And they would be able to get a job fresh out of college. They didn't have to worry about where I'm gonna work. They didn't have to worry about, and they got jobs mostly in their field. Now, even if they didn't get a job in their field or didn't stay in their field, because I got friends like that too. I can even use a lot of my friends as great examples of what I'm talking about. Folks who, you know, may have went to school for one thing, but came out and did a whole nother. You know, started their freshman year, they thought they wanted to be a doctor, they finished a lawyer. Or opposite the other way. Or neither or, they end up going into the tech field. Or they didn't do tech, or the tech wasn't right for them, so they did a little something in something else, some other department, HR, whatever, right? But the bottom line is, They've been climbing a certain form of corporate ladder ever since they graduated from college. And they got a place of security. They're the friends I have who have kids and nice homes and married, most of them. Some of them been through divorces. All this is typical of society and stuff. And not just my personal friends. This many people I know. This is people I know loosely, people I know very well as I'm saying this, and especially talking to ones loosely because when you look at the whole big picture, especially in a place like Atlanta, where so many black folk are doing supposedly well, at least that's the mythology that is constantly sold to folks coming here that are black, that want to do better, that want to have a great life, and they say, man, I gotta go to Atlanta, man. I gotta get up in Atlanta, man. Woo, I gotta go to Atlanta. That's what everybody want to do. Everybody want to get to Atlanta. And then when they get here, the other thing that's funny is when they realize that Atlanta's not just this city or the city municipalities of Atlanta, the actual city. When people say Atlanta, they really mean the metro area. You know, people will find out when they get here, be like, yeah, I got a cousin down there. I'm gonna come down there and search for a job and stay with them for a minute. Well, where'd you stay when you got down there? Oh man, what's the name of that place? It was Douglasville? Well, that's not technically Atlanta, but it's metropolitan Atlanta. That's why I always be saying metro, because there's a difference in the city and the metro area. The metro really deserves equal footing of respect on the name, because people be working sometimes downtown, but when that buzzer hits 3, 4, 5 o'clock and there's all that traffic, there wouldn't be no need for no traffic going to Decatur and Gwinnett and Conyers and all the parts of DeKalb County and all the parts of Gwinnett County and all the parts of other lower southern Fulton County and Clayton County, and I mean just everything that surrounds Atlanta. There would be no need to go all these different places if everybody actually lived in the city. It's a myth, y'all, and that's a myth of every city. Nobody as a whole lives in the freaking city, period, and that's it. Just only in the city. No, what is that? That's not even reality. That's not how it goes. That's not how it goes, people. Yeah, y'all. So I had to take a break to do something with what I'm doing, but I also went and got some numbers for y'all real quick. Y'all ready for this reality? About 511,000. I didn't say million. A little over a million, a little over half a million people actually live in the city limits of Atlanta. Just the city limits of what is actually Atlanta. Keyword city limits. 511,000. Guess how many live in what is known as the metro? If this is the little city limit, how many you think live in the metro that make all of that in one way or another work or have something to do with the business of Atlanta, even if they never leave their side of town, living everywhere else? Guess what? As a whole, including the city, but including especially all that other surrounding area, the metro area, 6.3 million. 6.3 million people in the entire metro Atlanta area. That's some perspective for your age. When you can take one of the millions of them 6 million, cut it in half and sprinkle in 11,000 more, 511,000. That's your Atlanta, real Atlanta. All the folk talking all that. So where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is when people come here and it's so oversaturated with people from everywhere trying to make it, and they come for the fantasy of everything that happens in that 511,000 space, but they end up living a 6.3 million reality. What's scary and gets scarier about it, and we always knew this was going to happen after the Olympics. We said, oh boy, this is not good for the future. It's good in some ways, but it's mostly horrible for what pressure it puts on a place like Atlanta to try to be something it's never been. And when the mentality of other places where it's a norm for them to deal with certain harshities and all kind of crime and all kind of extreme, all up on each other, not enough space, everybody, People used to that in big city areas, LA, New York, Chicago, Philly. But, you know, they are used to all of that. I've been to every last one of those cities I just mentioned. I got friends and family in every last one of those cities I just mentioned, just for example. So when you deal with the real crisis of what's been happening and what is happening, and the fact that when so many people come here with these dreams of living there, everybody wants to be so fly. Everybody wants to. It's not even just the American dream; it's the Atlanta dream. There's a thing known as it's like the Atlanta dream. It's when people come here thinking that they're gonna be the next folk to just blow up, live large, and for black folk especially, if they've been watching shows like the Atlanta Housewives or T.I.'s home show with his family, or what's the other one's been filmed in Atlanta? I mean, just pretty any damn thing, because so much is here. We are here. This is the black Hollywood too. You know, I'm in the biz. I told y'all. So that fantasy of that, and I've seen that I've witnessed that with my own eyes. You know, in 12 now, I think has it been 12? Let me see, 2009. Let me say, wait a minute, hold on. I'm going back to ONYXCON start. ONYXCON started in 2009. I got into the film biz technically 2014. So 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Good God, woo! Like I said, 12 years, baby. We're in the 12th year of this situation right here. So I know what I'm talking about. I remember in the beginning what it was. I remember when I used to be able to go to set, even when it was a huge cattle call, 100 or 500 people. Yeah, anywhere from 100 to 500 people for what we call a cattle call. It's a whole bunch of extras. We all there to do a big crowd at a stadium, a big party, a big club scene, whatever. It was always a reunion. It was so much fun. I mean, it's still fun to go to set, but I'm saying it used to be even more fun because you see your friends again, and you see the people you don't like again too. But you knew who the nuts were, you knew who the fools were, you knew who the people gonna get on your nerves, you know where to put your seats, and you ain't got to sit next to them all day. You know. But as time went on, boy, I tell you, at about half of them 12 years, somewhere around that 5th or 6th year, everything started to change. You still see your people every now and then, but you come in the room, it may be a big group, and it's like, I don't know nobody here. I mean, you make new friends. I'm not saying that, I know how to make friends. Ain't no problem with that. But you realize that's how fast this place is growing, that you never see the same faces as often anymore when it's getting like that. And then all these people are chasing the dream, because everybody you talk to, you ask them, what you here for? And most of them all say the same thing. They chasing that Atlanta dream. They want that, I left all of this and I came here for better and I expect better. And okay. Well, I got news for you. There was already a limit on how many good jobs, were available if you got to do another job, which you got to do. You got to do another job if you're in the film business and you just starting and you ain't got no real connections, or even if you got real connections, if they can't put you in a seat to do nothing ASAP, you still got to, you're going to have to pay them dues. You're going to have to do some other stuff. You're going to have to do some background. You're going to have to work up to stand in. You're going to have to do maybe even some crew work. And if you're smart, you might want to go ahead and do some crew work. Matter of fact, if you're really smart, I'd say do some background just to learn how it goes. And as soon as you can jump into crew work, if I had known what I know now, I would have been in crew a long time ago. A long time ago. I probably would have missed a lot of the fun that I had in playing characters and getting into the mindset of being an actor. So I have no regrets, because if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't feel confident of being an actor in certain roles. I know what my range is. I know what I can play. I know what I like to play. And so, I've done a lot, a hell of a lot. I've done lawyer. I've done office job character. I played everything corporate you can imagine. I played every suburban dad you can imagine. I played dude in the club, when I was younger and wasn't as gray, okay? And the fly guy in the club, still fly, but I'm saying now I'm Silver Fox version of him, you know what I mean? But back then I had the black beard, it wasn't silvered out. It wasn't getting silver and salt and pepper yet. It was mostly all black. At one point it was all black, And I was that smooth dude in the club, and I was a bouncer. I've been a hitman. I've been a vampire enforcer. I've done a lot of roles, I've been a UN ambassador, Black Panther. I've been FBI and Wakanda Forever. I've been FBI in so many shows and stuff I can't even remember. Always detective or something like that, because I ain't like having to shave my beard, and I never would after I did it. One time they got me with that BS. But let's get back on point with the main point of what I'm getting at. If you in something like even the biz I'm in, a lot of my friends that I'm even talking about, some of them already had kids. And that's another reason why I stopped seeing them as often. Because when I would see them many years later, hey, so-and-so, how you doing, man? Man, I had to go back to, it's funny. They say, I had to go get a job, man. And if you're a real artist, we don't talk that real job BS. There's no such thing as real. The art is the real job. This is the real job. Everything else we are forced to do is the other shit we always have to put up with to share with the world our gifts. Look into the history of all your most famous special actors and talents you love. Just go back to $7 story with The Rock. Why he calls his company $7 and how he moved to a town with $7 to make it. That's all he had to his name. Talk about how broken, how stressed out, and how crazy his world was in the wrestling world, and how he had to come up through all kind of, even with the family connections, how tough it was. Yeah. But when you're doing these other things, y'all, ain't nothing easy about it. And there's always setbacks. Like right now, I'm sitting here waiting on an order that was supposed to be out here when I pulled up. And this location never makes me wait. So they must really be locked down or lacking people because of the weather. I mean, the whole lot has got salt on it and looks washed over and gritty like it never looks because of what we've been dealing with in the last few days with the weather. And I know they probably missing some people who can't even get out their driveway because even though most of the snow is melting on most of the roads, there's patches that ain't melted of ice and stuff. And then some people live on a hill, so they can't get out. So they're lacking the workforce. So I know what it is. I know exactly what this is. I know exactly what it is. So things happen is where I was going with that part. And I'm going to add that to it, that when you make plans, life gonna happen. Life gonna happen. So, in my maturity as I get older, one thing I've noticed about a lot of younger folk, they tend to talk a lot of stuff, especially if they get a good job somewhere, any form of good job. Or if they made it even from not just something corporate or something like that. If they've got the cushion of, they got clients and they're an entrepreneur of some sort or whatever. And they rely on those clients. But most of the time their clients are people who have stable incomes, who have them good jobs, right? Okay. So, for example, when laws are being put in place to kill DEI and destroy black folks' opportunities to have government jobs that they've had historically ever since the civil rights movement, and, all types of laws being pushed in place to help diversify the workforce, ethnically and gender-wise. So women have jobs. So men of all ethnicities, women of all ethnicities, people from all kind of places, legit, legal, or even so-called illegal immigrants who mean well, who are not the criminal ones, the ones who actually just do the freaking work. Those people are getting deported. So all these jobs that all these nutballs been saying for years, they took all the jobs. Well, guess what? You finna have to do them. All that stuff you think you want to do that you don't want to have to do, you finna have to do it. Because they shipping folk out. And you gonna get a quick reminder of a reality that y'all ain't had in so long, in generations. If your granddad used to clean toilets, but y'all ain't nobody had to do it since him, guess who finna have to do some toilets? If you think that because you're a door-to-door salesperson, you make a whole lot of money, you're really good at it, you're great with candor. I've done all this stuff that I'm talking about, okay? You're a professional barber, you're a hairstylist, you're a nail tech, okay? We know how expensive those things are nowadays. Those are luxuries in this day and time. Who has the money to pay for a $25 and up haircut? Corporate types. Folks who make 6 figures and up. That's who. Well, if most of your clientele is black and you're black and you've been relying on that money for years, guess what? I'll save you a space next to me waiting on this order that ain't gonna come out till who knows when. Oh, you can take my space, because I'm gonna be back on set. the movie's gonna keep going. And if you've been relying on that money, I make a little money in the film biz. I know some clients. I got clients in the film. Mm-hmm. Well, that's finna dry up. That's finna dry up. That's finna dry up. It ain't gonna be the few. It's gonna be the few to proud. And one thing about that film business is who you know. Like every job, but especially in that world. So you mess around and step on the wrong toes out here in regular life, thinking you ain't gonna never have to cross paths with somebody again. All they're gonna take is one word. Don't never hire that mug. They don't know how to act. They think this, they think that, they got this kind of, no. And on top of that, that already happens, it's just gonna be less people able to freaking pay for these services. Because they're gonna be fired. The robots are gonna be taking over all kind of corporate jobs too. All you work at home folks, I hope you know how to control a staff of robots at home, because they're only gonna need maybe one or two of y'all. And the rest of y'all who've been standing around the copy machine for years talking about the game, and then maybe go back and finish a report before 3 o'clock before you rush out and act like you did so much and got to go get on the expressway. And all them snacks and everything you've been eating, and you just hit the gym and try and burn it off on the treadmill and everything, you ain't gonna be able to afford your gym membership. And I know some of y'all say, man, please, what you talking about, man? You don't know my life. I got crypto money, and I got this money and that money, and I got the stocks and everything. Okay. But the only reason you got that is because you had a corporate job where you had exposable income to put into crypto and all these other things. When that job is gone, and when that first $500 emergency that most Americans are not ready for comes up, like the washing machine goes out. Right now it's cold. Wait till it get hot again. You think for all those who don't believe in global warming, and they see that how ridiculous these people are, how can they call it global warming? And it's so, look at these storms of ice we're having. It's obvious it's no problem with heat. I mean, okay, all right. Even though LA's on fire because of the dry air and everything with the winds that happen. Okay. Wait till spring. As I call it, sprummer. Sprummer, because we get a little bit of spring and summer. It's already summer. By the time you get to May in Atlanta, the end of April, sprummer is coming in strong. You're going to have a couple of wind chill days and weird winds and stuff, and maybe some hail and storms and stuff. But boy, when it finally lock in, May, June, July, August, fire, September even, October, hell, this year, October, I was like, it's getting nicer. I saw it change. The leaves started changing. They didn't really do what they do until November. And then we had some crazy rains and it was over. It was like, if you didn't see the leaf show, it was over. That's it. December, January, we back in. Wintertime. December and January is the show enough winter in Atlanta. But the point is, because February be all over the place. February be crazy. You have a 65-degree day backed up with a 32 the next day. Oh yeah, just like that. But see, when all them different things got going crazy and your heater go out, your washer dry, your whatever, because you know, y'all got them trophy wives, bro. She got them trophy husbands. Because he got to make at least 6 figures. I mean, who going to pay for my weave and my nails? Because I'm trying to live, you know, she trying to live that dream, not American dream, the Atlanta dream, Atlanta housewife dream. Guess who gonna have to start turning a few of these courier tricks? Let me stop. Oh man, but I'm not getting pimped. Cause since day one, I knew what this was. I knew this was all coming. I knew that with my reality as an artist, it's always been different for me. It's always been a stressful thing to figure out the next step and see where it's coming from. And you rolling the dice every single day. Most of y'all who that got too comfortable with them corporate jobs and stuff, or I'll put it like, it ain't even got to be corporate, you know, because it's the blue collar folk too. Oh, they can be dumb as hell or smart. Some of them. I'm not saying everybody blue collar is a dummy, and sure as hell ain't saying everybody who's white collar is smart. But I'm saying from being in both environments, I've seen the drastic differences in likelihood of certain kind of energy. And the thing you'll find with the white collar version is it's the cockiness of thinking you know everything, but you still don't know everything. It's impossible to. But they don't humble themselves to that, some of them, on the bad side of that, on the dysfunctional side of that. Hell with good and bad. We dealing with objectivity and just what's the results. And then you got the other side of cockiness where, you know, it's service folk who make good, you know what I'm saying? They got a regular job because, like I say, they rely on clients. But they got the higher tier of service job, you know? Or they got the trucker job, or they work at the port. Or they do construction. Or they are a mechanic. A lot of these guys, yeah, they make good money. Some of those folk most of them folk make excellent money. Nothing less than 60,000 on average, some of them. You know, I'm talking about the best of the jobs. Not the lowest tier of it. The ones who really getting it. But the funny thing about it is, like I say, enjoy it while you can. As soon as the tariff issue hits, the port's finna dry up for the jobs. The robots finna come in for your jobs. All them factory workers, oh, that's gone. That's gone. When Amazon and all that is already putting robots on the line. And I done heard horror stories of all kind of inhumane stuff going on in some of those types of jobs where they literally didn't even want people to go. I'm talking about some people telling me stuff from experience. They don't even want people to go to the bathroom. They putting buckets on the line. Don't say you heard it. You heard what I said. It's some real insane, inhuman stuff been going where at one point in the history of the job I had, like I said, it was contractual and all of that. And the county was going through a phase of new corruption. Sound familiar? New elected officials in charge of everything and whatnot. And this was a mostly, well, depending on what side of the county. On the north side, you got a pretty diverse blend of folk, but for the rest of the county, at that time anyway, it was mostly black representation. And as far as the professionals that I worked with directly, there was some really talented, intellectual, wonderful people to spend a day with, you know what I'm saying, on a regular basis. Most people were on point. Now, there were also some people who were smart, but also very egomaniac, could be crazy, could be a pain in your behind on a daily basis, you know. But you know, it's always, like they say, one bad will try to spoil the bunch. Yeah, it was that kind of job, you know. So you dealt with all of that until you overcame those hurdles, and you turn your enemies into not necessarily friends, but tools in the process of the daily, what you got to do, right? You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I learned with that job especially was, as soon as somebody get on your nerves, if you they get on your nerves enough for you to be like, well, you know what? I guess y'all don't need me. Now wait a minute. Now, would you please? That's when you find out your worth. That's when you find out that all these fools trying to act so big and bad can't do nothing without you. That's when you find out how much work you've been really doing, and how much, even though you don't get paid what you're worth, you the man, you the woman, you the people, y'all the ones. You really are the ones. And it's usually like that for who really keeps things held together in most situations. Because that's how they create caste systems. That's how they create so-called lower class caste and all that other stuff. What do you mean lower? How is there ever a lower if it's so profitable and so wealthy as a whole nation? Because somebody they want to force to do the work nobody else at the top wants to do. But what's so disgusting about it is, some of those very things are the only reason you have the so-called conveniences that you call this first world country. You know? But anyway, back to what happened. So there was somebody who came in that was like a tyrant. Sound familiar? I tell you, this ish was a microcosm of what is happening. I've lived so much of what's happening now. Like, there's nothing about this. I'm about to panic and, oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, I get mad when I see stupid ish, but I ain't about to, ain't no reason to hit no panic button, man. I done been here before. Y'all just, the problem is, like I said, some folks they believe the hype. They think their job really protects them. They really think they got job security. So they're losing their mind because they're like, wait a minute, you mean literally overnight? All my packages at my door and my pantry full of what? Ain't new. We've been surviving this kind of nonsense. I be so, hey, what did I just say? I said, take it to the good. How you be, I be so, hey, what did I just say? I said, take it to the good. How you think you get fly? You learn that when you're an actor, especially. I went from one suit in the closet to 6, 7, 8 suits. And I'm talking nice. I'm talking about nice. That's real nice. Bernie Mac, shout out. That's nice, real nice. Because when the ish hit the fan, or when the so-called wealthy get to the point where they, man, I ain't even gonna ever wear this. Okay, cool, take it to Goodwill. I'll check on it. I'll take it. I'm gonna make it look like you could never make it look. Because when they sitting up in the office, fat, and in a month, even worse, I know what it is. When you working behind the scenes, when you in the jobs, when you do the stuff other folk ain't doing, you see the reality. You can't, this ain't Instagram. You can't put a filter on it. It's real. It's real, baby. It's real out here. It's real. See, and they ain't got no respect about it. Everything, like I said, they lead with money. You know, all these so-called think they rich ass type folk. You got people for real. They think they really doing something because they got a little bit of money in the bank these past few years because they've been voting a certain way and they got some crypto and by the way, let me make it clear. There's nothing wrong with having investments. I'm the last person to go tell you not to do that. Matter of fact, I say if there's any way to get some crypto that you can afford to risk it going up and down and all around. That's my main one that was talking. I get into too many details. I'm going to elaborate, and that's how I tangent. And I know I'm a tangent master. I love tangenting actually. Until I mean, when I have to just be, I can, but I'm talking to the internet. I don't care. Some people ain't gonna even be in the best doing it. I learned the Bible with everybody else. Come on, connect. Say, just okay. You know, they're religious people and they care about their fellow people. They don't give a. If somebody else's job is up for grabs, they just sidestep. Oh, it ain't my job. Oh, that's really sad what I heard about your job. So there was this person that came in and tired. They slick too. Like when you hear about those folks who go in countries and stuff just so they can destroy an economy and then put in, you know, World Bank initiatives and control the economy of quote unquote less powerful countries, yet they have all the resources you need to keep your cell phones and everything else going. You know, yeah, those kind of people. So he was that type of person. He'd come in, he infiltrate, and most of us fell for his. You know, he came in smiling and nice to everybody and acting like, I'm here to help you because I hear that the artists are not being treated right. And what could y'all use to make this better? And me being younger and stuff, definitely not who I am. Making the county great again. Yeah, I'm using a phrase on purpose. I'm mixing something here, but it was that kind of attitude about it. It's like, you're the reason why we're backwards. It's all of you. Don't even have benefits. If we didn't have to pay y'all at all, we could actually cover our deficit. Yeah, that's about how bad it was, y'all. That's literally the level of mind BS that we were being fed. And of course, it was such an incredible slap in the face and in our pockets that we just I'll never forget. We went to our own. Let's get organized. Let's have our own simple form of a union, so to speak. And I remember us having pep rally and all my peoples. And there was a lady, a black woman, who was in charge of a department. And I'm not saying her gender or her ethnicity in any particular. She could have been a dude. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. But I am just labeling it for what it is, right? And we had this meeting. And I'll never forget that meeting because I sat there. This was by the time I already had ONYXCON going on. Every year I was doing my conventions. And it had nothing to do with that department of the county. My connections for ONYXCON in the county were through other relationships I had from teaching art. But I'll never forget sitting there in one of these meetings, and after we, you know, we were trying to express our thoughts. I was the only one expressing. All the pep rally of everybody who was gonna stand beside me and we're gonna rah together, man. We're gonna tell these people what we deserve. But I was the only one talking. I was the only one fired up. I was the only one expressing myself intellectually and putting it down. And all of them was just sitting on both sides of the table, my so-called extra warriors, looking back and forth like they were watching a damn tennis match. Like, they just, you know, this is what they doing. And I said, I kept giving them eye signals like, all right, it's your turn. I done warmed them up. You go ahead and finish that off. And they looking back at me like, no, it's on you. It's on you. Oh my gosh. And once the person I was dealing with had played enough chess with me, she gave me the ultimate checkmate. She said, you know what, for what you're describing, Joseph, for what I was saying should be our demands and what we deserve, she said, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's never gonna happen in this particular part of the county. I said, if you want that to happen, you need to start your own thing. And I sat there at least feeling one great thing. I already had my own thing. So, needless to say, that's when I started getting extra focused on everything else I could do with my entity. And I realized that, like she said, if you really want to change anything, if you're inside of a system, you are just that. You are inside of a system. And unless you create your own system, you have no power. Y'all need to rewind that if it didn't sink in, if somebody needed to hear that, if somebody's struggling with the same thing I'm talking about right now, and they trying to, like, man, it don't seem like it ever gonna change. Of course not. Because it's somebody else's from day one. You didn't do nothing for yourself. You got to create something for yourself within. You're going to always be within the overall matrix situation. That's generational. We were born into a country with issues politically, socially, racially, ethnically, all this stuff that we all talk about 24/7, wake up to, go to sleep to, wake up to, go to sleep to, freaking Groundhog Day, every damn day. We all deal with this BS. I don't care who you are. Whether you don't even realize you deal with the BS, because you're part of the BS. Bizarro. Bizarro, bizarro. But no matter what, all of our actions affect each other. And the bottom stinking ass line is, I came out of that with a newfound sense of purpose. It was already instilled in me. I already had my purpose. I already knew what I want to be and everything I'm going to do. And I was doing it. I was already doing it. But it just made me say, oh, okay. Stop doing any of this stuff thinking that this will somehow one day see the light and realize that, yo, we could, do you know how much more I could do for y'all if y'all just paid me right, gave me benefits like everybody else, and blah, 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 blah. No, they don't look at it like that. That was never the plan for you. You're an artist. We don't respect what you do any damn way. We just got it here because it's expected when we say we starting a senior center. We need these people something to do other than come here, eat, talk ish and go home. No, we give them some activities. That's it. And that's literally all we got you here for. You are the entertainment. And so, the worst part of it was all my friends in other departments, physical fitness, because they were next. See, it's a totem pole. And then people who had the administrative jobs, first, the nurses and people got hit a little bit. Well, they're all the same. They was all kind of like administrative. But administrative, and it was all because of this one person infiltrated, this one tyrant that came in, whose ultimate plan was he wanted to get people's jobs. He wanted to get people fired and make himself look like he was the hero so that he could take over the freaking whole thing. And I could get into a whole lot of ugly specifics, but I'll say this. I'll just say I was at a certain meeting we had to have for the whole county. And by that time, much later, he had been through everybody's department. There was people being laid off. People were losing their jobs. Mind you, we had a piece of a job because they cut our hours and forced us to work a limit of a certain amount of hours versus what we were getting. But we still had something. I had friends who had all of the benefits and everything, family, kids, you name it. They lost their jobs. What did I say about us? I said, they don't treat us right, but they know they needed us. They know they needed some art. They know we got to keep some art up in here. Because if you don't, it creates the wrong picture. It's like, oh, wait a minute. What's happening in this place? See, all this stuff is behind the scenes. The seniors, the people who participate, don't have to know nothing about all the politics, even though they still knew, of course. People talking, people angry. But they don't have to really, really swallow the whole thing. They don't really have to start thinking for themselves and say, wait a minute now, I love this place. I don't want to see it go to hell. What can we do to make it right? Is that the problem, that person? So they kept us around so that they at least say, well, they didn't fire those nice young people who come and teach us. So I like them. I like Joseph, and I like such and such, that lady and that man. I like their class. So they kept us, but at a margin, on purpose. On purpose. So the ultimate story is what's about to happen, and what is happening is just that. That's why they pick and chose certain people who would sit there and do this at the table when it came down to the arguing for your rights. They didn't fight nothing at all. Nelly and Snoop said, hell with it, at least I got a job still. And I ain't even the one who fought for it. People like me who fought for that. Who said, I ain't gonna perform for you at no damn inauguration with your ill will toward all. Well, hell no. I see a few thumbs up in here. I appreciate them. So, you know, there will be those people who think that their money and their access to money and everything is gonna save them when the tyrant decides, I'm bored. They like the Wiz. They behind closed doors, they're the cowardly character in the Wiz. But because they're perceived as so powerful, if they say to change the color, everybody just change. They don't want to get fired and keep dancing and playing the song. They'll go perform for him, knowing this person is saying they're gonna give full immunity to police departments with a history of corruption and killing off your so-called community that you rapped about in your songs, Nelly. It's supposed to be #1 in the world, in America. #1 in America for the most cases of crimes with police cases of killing citizens. We all know, yes, there are those incidents where officers' lives are in danger and they have to defend themselves. We talking about them cases where it's sticky and it's weird and force wasn't needed, but it still was used, and there's a whole bunch of folk trying to figure out how to keep this swept under the rug, but the rug got full and now it's just falling out, and that's why you're #1 in St. Louis. This is a statistic you can look up. You can look it up. It's real easy. So the bottom line, people, is there's a lot of people who are way too comfortable thinking they sleeping in the same bed. Maybe because they were invited to perform. Maybe because they done made so much money off crypto. Maybe because they forget the only reason they even can see the number on their phone, tablet, computer, whatever, the special computers that mine, you know, the mining computers for crypto and stuff. All of that's connected to electricity. All of that is connected to systems of technology. And technology, like I'm speaking to this phone right now, as I've went off and on, how many times during this broadcast and every time I go live, I go off and on because the phone has to keep re-pinging to another tower, and in some areas, AT&T is battling with Sprint. Sprint is battling with Xfinity. Xfinity don't like its other part of Comcast. The other part of that don't like something. I'm making up that last part, but my point is this, because that's one company. But my point is this, you know what I'm saying? You know exactly what the hell I'm saying if you're intelligent, logical enough to understand how stuff goes in this damn world, man. You can't bet on this shish. Here today, gone tomorrow, baby. It's for real out here. I use it like everybody uses it. But I do not put all my eggs in one basket. Now, it's hard not to put most of your eggs in a basket in the matrix. You're in the matrix, so you got to pick some kind of basket. This basket is technology based in one way or another, and try to make it out here. But I'm gonna tell you something. Even with that understanding, one thing about the way I was raised. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, family. Thank you, friends. Thank you, everybody who gave me pieces and parts of what I'm about to say. If you got some life skills, you're gonna be all right. You can truly sing the chorus of the Kendrick Lamar song. We gonna be all right. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gonna be all right. And notice I did the clean version. Why? Because I don't like the ratchet version. Because that ain't universal. The clean version is universal. The N-word ain't universal. Much respect, Kendrick. I swear I love your artistry, man. I really do. He's one of the greatest of all time. But all that ratchet, That ain't gonna be all right. If all the lights go out, all the tech go out, and you find out who really, really got it in for you. All y'all fantasizing about The Walking Dead and all these different movies and everything. You do not want to live none of that. You need to get you some friends who, even though they've been debriefed, they still can tell you some stories about what they experienced in being called to duty. Not a video game. I'm talking about real war. Ask them about what they were forced to do or what they saw. Try not to get them to have a lapse, all jokes aside. But when you hear them kind of stories, and when you've had your own life experiences of some things that make you realize how fragile we all really are as human beings, physically and otherwise, you say, yeah, it would behoove you. It's my word, you know that, if you've been here long enough. Love that word. It would behoove you to get some candor skills, to get some mitigation skills, to get some freaking respect in your life. And if you don't know what that really means, if you think that means bullying your way to the top, if you think it's all about money, if you think you got power because you got some weaponry and some arsenal, I'm here to tell y'all, respect first, then power, and if it is even needed, money. Because I'm going to go one further. Resources and know-how. Respect, power, know-how. If you ain't got no kind of survival skills, you might want to get some. If you somebody who would come on my channel when I first started fishing and say, what? Man, he had a comic book convention and now he hiking and stuff. That's what I always did. I just decided to share it because ONYXCON is a lifestyle. And you wouldn't have the comic book I made, or most of the ones you even enjoy, if somebody didn't go out into the woods, if somebody didn't walk the beach, if somebody didn't travel, if somebody didn't know more than some concrete and whatever's in a store made available for you. Because when the lights out, when the doggone supply chain gets locked up and there's no way to get it to you, some of y'all gonna think back to when I used to put up an ad that I had running years ago, back when we was all at home. Only but a few years ago. 5 to be exact. 6, if you will, ago. And I said, anybody want to learn how to go fishing in the Atlanta, Georgia area? And I offered some hiking tours for places around the city. Because, you know, a lot of y'all are on the diet, and for you it's a trend. Some of y'all, it's a health concern. It's a need. You say you're a pescatarian? It would behoove you to know how to fish for your damn self. It would behoove. And I said all that, and I didn't get one reply. I had a couple of friends say, man, you know, I was thinking about what you put up, man. That seemed like a pretty good idea, man. I might have to do it. I might have to. When a fool say, I might have to do, that's when you know they full of it and they ain't gonna never do it. And you know, I might have to do. You ain't never gonna do whatever you about to say. When you say, you know, I might have to ain't gonna ever happen. And guess what? That ship done already sailed. I offered it, and now we at a stage where whoever's left that I know I would offer it regardless, because they help ONYXCON in other ways. They here for us in other ways. You still on the list if you need me. We're gonna figure it out. But if you Johnny come lately and didn't never reply or thought it was a joke or you on some black folk don't do that. Well, man, you talking about fishing? Okay. Go ahead on with that. Go and get caught up in them racial constructs and them little paper doll cutouts of what you're supposed to be in a life. I've been sharing with y'all the realness. Find your way to respect. No more than just who you think you ought to know. Learn about real people and what they done been through. Learn that everybody got some good folk in their communities. Everybody got some decent human beings in their communities. And find a way to respect each other. Peace.